Right, in this tutorial we're just going to create a metal material again using a texture from textures.com. So in this instance here, what we're going to use as our base is this one here. So you can see there what it's going to look like. So that's printing, which is not what I want. It's preview, and I should do. There we go. So this is what we're going to use as a base. Now this is actually a very big picture of a very small chunk of metal. So we're going to do a couple of things here. We're going to obviously create a diffuse map, then we're going to a bump map and a specular map for showing the highlight areas. So the first thing to do is, I suppose, do a little bit of work again using GIMP. So I'm just going to pull GIMP over here, and we're going to create our diffuse and our specular maps. So open, and there's our bare metal. This one we're starting. Incidentally, this other file here is just a different type of metal. So grab that and click open. And as before, to create the bump map, we're going to simply desaturate this. So under color, hue saturation, grab the saturation and pull it all the way off and click OK. And then I'm going to export this as same name with metal bare bump. Alright, so we're going to be using that. And this same map becomes the basis for our specular highlights as well. Now the idea of highlights is to put shiny areas effectively on the metal. So in order to do that, what we do is we mess around with the levels and we clip off the blacks and leave some of the whites. So I suppose it's easier when you actually see it happen. So I'm going to go into the colors here again and load the curves here. So I'll just grab this, and that's the dialog. So I'm just going to grab this and put it over here. So what I want to happen is, this is just basically showing the grayscale across the image. So I want to push the blacks, squeeze them a bit. So anything to the left of this is just going to show up as black now. So I can push that and you'll see more and more black creeping into the image. If I push it too far, it goes nearly completely black. So I'm going to pull it back a bit to here maybe. And then for the shiny stuff, what I want to do is I want the brighter areas to be more white and the darker areas to be more black. So I'm going to push those. I just want to see how much reflectance I get on this thing. Now one of the things that's emerging on this image is that it's quite bright at the top and dark at the bottom. So we should, we'll see how that works out. It's going to create a bit of a weirdness on the map itself. So let's see. I might just leave it there and see what it looks like. So click OK there. Now I'm going to go File, Save As, Export As. And instead of calling this one bump, I'm going to call it spec. That's fine for specular highlights. And click export. No, back in here, hit enter, and then it'll export. There we go. So now I've got 3 maps to play with. We can now go back into 3ds and see what we can do with those. So let's push all this junk out of the way. So again, opening the material editor. Find an empty slot. There it is. So I'm going to call this one My Metal. And under the type here, again, standard material, standard, click OK. And I'm going to create a blend material. So for the diffuse map, again, I'm going to grab a bitmap, and it's going to be metal bare. Click open. And you can see it in there. So what I'm going to do now is just open this out and make a few adjustments. So this is what we see as bare metal. And we can start to see that banding effect that was becoming apparent as well. So you can see the way it's working. Not great. Probably a bit of correction on the image would have fixed that. So anyway, look, that's our diffuse map in. So why don't we just put in a few more? So show in there. Let's push that back. Under other maps, let's just have a look and see what our specular color will do, or specular level will do, I should say. So grab this, another bitmap, and where's my spec? There it is, open. And there you go, you can see how that has kind of highlighted it up quite a bit. I'm going to go back into the parent again, and you can see the difference between them. So that's specular off, and that's specular on. So you can see that it's making the shiny stuff more shiny, and the darker stuff is kind of holding back. Looking at this, I'd say, yeah, we've got quite a profound effect here. So yeah, it's making the materials look a bit more shiny, I suppose. One could argue that it's probably too much, but we'll see. Anyway, the next one we want to pop on is the bump map. So that'll be our kind of final part of this. So again, we can go into the maps here. There's bump, grab this, another bitmap, and there's my bump map here. So I can click open on this, and we should see the effect there on that as well. There we go. So let's go back to parent, preview and window. And again, just going through this. So if I turn off the bump map, there we go. We can see a bit of an effect. There's it coming back on again. It's quite pronounced around here where it's shadowing. So if I turn off the bump map again, you'll see it right there. Yep. And put bump back on. Yeah, it certainly helps. And the specular level there, just turn that off. Yeah, it goes very flat looking, isn't it? I can turn that on. And anyway, so like this is our intended material. Again, you'd want to think about scaling and how that behaves, and based on this, the bitmap I've chosen here is not the greatest. So there will be a little bit of correction to be done on the diffuse map, just to take some of that flattening that color out and make it a bit more even. So that's it. There's bump, specular, and diffuse. Thank you very much.